For the next 12 days, Chad and I will be embarking on an Alaskan land and sea adventure on board Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas. This truly will be a trip to remember. Alaska is a land of colossal glaciers, towering mountain ranges, and untamed wilderness unlike anywhere else in all of North America. Along its rugged coastline, sea otters float in icy waters with their little ones, bald eagles soar above deep waters, and charming frontier towns offer a glimpse into the state's rich history and culture. Farther inland, vast tundra stretches towards snow-capped peaks, creating landscapes so immense and magnificent that they almost feel impossible to comprehend. It's a place that reminds us that we're so remarkably small in a world so big. For this journey, we had the incredible opportunity to bring along our good friends Sammy and Tommy to experience it all with us.
For the next week, we'll be calling Royal Caribbean's Ovation of the Seas home, and this ship is absolutely incredible. Our first 7 days will be on sea, exploring different ports along the coast of Alaska, and then the rest of the days will be a land adventure where we're literally gonna get off of the ship and be exploring deeper into the Alaskan wilderness.
We kind of get the best of both worlds, so this is a land and sea tour. We started our adventure over in Vancouver, and for the last 2 days we have been out at sea, sailing and sailing, but there have been so many experiences to do on board. We have been enjoying their specialty dining. We actually headed over to Teppanyaki, which is their hibachi restaurant, and that was a very exhilarating and stimulating experience. You get entertainment while getting some really delicious food. I've never had filet mignon or lobster as a choice of meat for a hibachi, and so that was very delicious.
We also drove bumper cars.
Fasten your seatbelts.
All right, seatbelts.
Oh yeah.
Get away, get away!
Along with surfing some waves on the flow rider, even though I actually didn't make it too far this time. I gotta keep trying and practicing. It's time to fly in the sky. I was able to try their iFly, which is their skydiving experience, and it was so cool to feel the weightlessness and how however you move your legs or your arms, it'll affect the direction that you go.
We also got a 50-minute hot stone massage at the Vitality Spa and Salon on board, and that was absolutely amazing. We almost fell asleep, but I always try to stay awake so I can really appreciate the artistry that is massage therapy. My favorite part was at the end. It was the most wholesome ending. They put Chad's hand in mine, and I was just like, oh my goodness, what a special touch. I've never gotten that in a couples massage before. And then we were able to go over to their thermal suite and lay on some of these wonderful hot beds, just relax those muscles even more.
One other experience that I've been so giddy to try is actually rock climbing. I love rock climbing so much, and I was able to go up on somewhat of a windy day, and it was so funny because I literally felt like I was on an old-timey ship where you're trying to get to the top to like look out for pirates or something. Because it was just blowing so much up there, but I loved it. It was so exhilarating.
We've also been able to delight in a lot of their live music and some of their performances. We actually went to Live Love Legs last night, and the performers were just so talented. It's so cool to see the passion they have for what they do, and just a wonderful way to end the night with such great entertainment.
One of my favorite places on board is their solarium, which is kind of like this indoor greenhouse with heated pools and whirlpools and plants, and it's such a good place to go if you want to just go read a book or dip your feet in the pool or have a little drink. It is just so relaxing in there.
Now that we feel like we've really enjoyed the ship to its fullest, we are ready to explore Alaska, and we are heading out to Ketchikan first. Tucked along the picturesque coast of southeastern Alaska, Ketchikan is a colorful fishing town often called the salmon capital of the world. It's a place where rows of boats line the vibrant waterfront, and fresh seafood is served from the docks straight to the table. A dream of ours for the longest time was to go fishing in Alaska, and luckily Royal Caribbean offered an excellent fishing experience that allowed us to live out that dream in Ketchikan. Before we boarded our cruise, we were able to browse through dozens of highly rated experiences, all provided through Royal Caribbean, which allowed us to experience each destination on a deeper and more intimate level. These excursions definitely elevated our trip. So in Ketchikan, we boarded a small fishing boat and rowed through persistent rain and rocky waters to a special spot where we dropped our lines into the dark black waters. Maybe it was our perspective, but we felt as if the rainy weather added to the wildness of the fishing adventure. Before we knew it, our lines were hooking up rockfish of all kinds, which was really exciting and necessary because we were in charge of catching our own lunch that day. After several hours out on the waters, we rode to a remote island where a chef cooked up our catches with a delicious, lip-smacking homemade cioppino, and we cheers to a very successful and memorable first day in Alaska. As we were coming off from that island, we spotted some bald eagles up in the trees, and we were able to get, I don't know, it felt like a National Geographic moment with the eagles swooping down, grabbing fish from the water, and flying away.
Yes, it was incredible.
It was so close to us.
They were huge, absolutely massive eagle.
We just don't see birds that big where we come from.
Yeah.
So what a treat that was. That night, we delighted in a fantastic meal at the Onboard steakhouse and watched surrounding mountains and skies slowly fade into dusk. This morning, we woke up a little bit early and we were able to watch our cruise ease into Sitka, which is our destination for day 5. And what I've loved about the Alaska cruise altogether is it feels like you are in a living photograph at all times. Any moment I look out on our balcony, the picture is just constantly moving, and it's just enough time for you to genuinely enjoy the scene right in front of you, and then in the blink of an eye, it has disappeared, and there are just so many things being revealed constantly. Like I could be looking off in one direction and behind a bunch of really lush green trees is just snow-capped mountains, and I just love the surprise of it all. It is such a magical experience.
Good morning from Sitka. Claire and I just disembarked the Ovation of the Seas and we hopped on a blue bus over to Sitka. It was about a 15-minute ride and we had to reserve that shuttle service ahead of time, which was totally free. But we just popped into the History Museum and Visitor Center where we got a map of the surrounding area. But if you don't know anything about Sitka, the one thing that you should remember is that it was once owned and operated by the Russian government. I didn't actually know this, but Alaska belonged to Russia back in the day, and so there's some Russian influence in this town, which I'm really excited to see.
We decided to explore the coastline via kayaks that afternoon, and it was such a peaceful yet active way to explore the sound. We're officially out on the water. So I just plucked this from the sea and our guide said we can eat it. I think it's pretty good. I feel like I've eaten something like this in my life. It's a little slimy. A little slimy, a little crunchy, a little salty from the salt water. Naturally seasoned.
Hey, there's unlimited supply here.
Blows in your mouth.
Oh, one-handed catch. So this kayaking adventure has turned into a foraging tour. We now have another kind of kelp to try. This is the bubble kelp. He described it like a gusher, like there's some liquid inside that explodes in your mouth when you eat it. Apparently that liquid helps it float.
Feels like something I don't want to put in my mouth.
All right, bottoms up.
But the liquid in the middle.
Let me get a little taste of that. Dude, these are succulent.
That's actually way better than I expected.
The texture kind of reminds me of okra.
Yeah, it
You
is
know,
like
like the sliminess of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it taste better than the flat piece of kelp?
I do like this one more than the flat one.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I was living in Alaska, I'd be like going to the shore every day to dehydrate this. for ramen.
Yeah,
You know?
for some miso.
Oh yeah. After another day out on the chilly Alaskan waters, it was so nice to warm back up in our cruise ship stateroom. We're gonna give you a quick tour of our stateroom. We are up on the 13th floor in a room with a balcony, and tucked in this corner is the bathroom. There's a walk-in shower, there's the toilet, and also a sink with a huge mirror. There's tons of counter space, which I absolutely love for all of our toiletries. And then over here we have our ginormous king-size bed. It is framed in by 2 huge closets. There's a lot of space to put all of our clothes, so we actually don't even need our suitcases out and about. We can just store them all away in there. It is facing a TV, which we'll see if we'll be using. I feel like with the balcony view, we'll probably want to be looking out at nature a little bit more. In this back corner is our sitting area. There's a big comfy couch and also a desk where we can either get some work done or we can get ready for our fancy dinners on board. There's a huge mirror right by the desk. On the first night, they had dropped off a surprise bottle of red wine and fruit, and so we've been able to enjoy that over the last couple of days. And then last but not least, the best part of our room is the back balcony, which is completely private. We can go out and take in the fresh ocean air at any time. So yeah, that is our stateroom. Our final coastal stop was Skagway, a historic frontier town tucked between towering mountains and the sea, where Alaska's wild landscape meets a remarkably preserved piece of gold rush history. The colorful buildings, chugging steam trains, and wooden boardwalks felt frozen in time, and the rowdy spirit of the gold rush was definitely still lingering strong in this quaint little town. After 7 incredible days aboard Ovation of the Seas, our Alaskan adventure was only halfway complete. Royal Caribbean organized an entire land tour for us to further experience and explore Alaska's interior. Our hotels were all included, transportation between each destination was completely seamless, and our luggage was transferred straight from our transportation to our hotel room, so we never had to worry about carrying our bags. We also had a dedicated tour guide with us the entire journey, making every step of the adventure completely stress-free. Disembarking in Whittier, we exchanged the coastline for vast wilderness and began making our way towards Denali, but not without a quick stop in Kenai Fjords National Park. This park is only accessible by boat, and our 6-hour-long boat tour granted us the chance to see so much wildlife and stand before the profound powder blue majesty and grandeur of Aialik Glacier. So we are slowly approaching the glacier, but I just can't believe how close they're taking us. You can hear all of the enormous chunks of ice hitting the bottom of the boat. And it just looks like terrazzo too, but ice everywhere. The next day, we awoke in the serenity of Alyeska Resort and enjoyed a quick but very tasty breakfast buffet before hopping aboard their tram. The tram carries visitors from the valley floor to the upper slopes of Mount Alyeska in just a few minutes, and I must say, the views were spectacular. Our next stop was Talkeetna, and we had the chance to stay at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge.
We're hopping on a plane in order to land on a glacier and to look over into Denali National Park.
I'm so excited. They're bright red.
Yeah, I love the look.
They look like something from way back when.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Old-timey feel. As impressive as the views were from the ground, nothing could have prepared us for seeing Denali from the sky. Boarding a vintage 1950s aircraft, we lifted off and climbed towards North America's tallest mountain. Snow-covered peaks stretched endlessly across the horizon, while glaciers carved brilliant white pathways through the valleys below. It was one of the most awe-inspiring experiences of the entire trip, and a perspective of Alaska that very few people ever get to witness.
So the plane just landed and we have made it on the glacier, and we are surrounded by 360 views of the mountains, and I was able to sit in the cockpit because Tommy actually raised his hand first and he gave his spot to me. Aww, which was so nice. And I have to say that was just a once in a lifetime experience, and I've said that before, but this was just next level and incredible.
Yeah, I was sitting in the back and the views were just outstanding. I felt like I just couldn't stop filming because every turn is something new and I want to capture all of it.
Yeah.
They actually told us to bring sunglasses for this ride because they said once you get off, you're going to be blinded by the light.
Yep.
And I'm glad we had the sunglasses because I definitely would be. Everything is white and the sun, the light is reflecting off all of it.
It is bright.
It's like we stepped out of the plane into heaven.
Yeah.
The next day, we took a short, relaxing hike with a few local guides and learned so much about the native flora and fauna of the region. And then, that afternoon, we had the exhilarating opportunity to ride an ATV through the rugged terrain surrounding Denali.
Tommy, how's it been going?
Too fun. Oh my god, it's so much fun.
It's crazy.
So
that
fun.
creek crossing was wild.
Yeah.
Little souvenir.
So fun.
After a good night's rest at Denali Park Village, we were so hesitant to say farewell to the astounding beauty of that part of the world. But as they say, all good things must come to an end. And honestly, we really couldn't complain because the grand finale of the trip was an 8-hour ride on the Alaskan Wilderness Express. What a fantastic way to be transported back down to Anchorage. Huge windows framed the scenery as forests, rivers, mountains, charming little homes, and open tundra drifted by outside. It felt less like transportation and more like one final opportunity to admire everything this remarkable state has to offer.
I wish you guys could experience it in person because it's just so immersive. Having these giant windows and then the food and the drinks and just being a little bit higher up too, and the mountains just don't end. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, the service is amazing. This is just one of those experiences that you're gonna for sure remember.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not? Like, I can even look up at the sky right now because everything is glass.
Yeah.
Just taking it all in.
Yeah, and I actually can't imagine doing this. If we just did the cruise portion without the land portion, I don't think I would have experienced Alaska at all in the same way.
Yeah, you've got to come on land.
Yeah.
Like, this has been just such a great add-on to what was already amazing on the cruise, but being able to explore the land, because Alaska's huge and just seeing the coastline really isn't enough. You've got to go inland. Over the course of 12 days, Alaska revealed itself in ways we never expected. We soared above glaciers, paddled beneath mountains, explored charming coastal towns, and journeyed deep into the wilderness surrounding Denali. Experiencing the Alaska cruise while extending the adventure onto land allowed us to see two completely different sides of Alaska, and together they created one unforgettable adventure that we're definitely going to hold near and dear to our hearts for years to come. A very special thank you to Royal Caribbean for making this once-in-a-lifetime experience happen. We'll catch you all on the next adventure.